Thank you for that introduction. I apologize in advance for not having gone to Syracuse University. I'll try and plan better next time. Okay. I'm going to touch on a lot of the same themes that Ken has talked about. I'll come at them from a slightly different point of view. And mostly I will focus on the home building, the construction end of it, more than the sales. And so that's how mine is going to be the same and different from what Ken has had to say. Go ahead, the first slide. Okay. This is the single-family housing starts from 1970 forward. What this is intending to show you is that we've had sort of a sharp decline. The correction in construction in 2006 and 2007 has been not only pretty bad, it's like historically bad. We've been through sort of downturns before. We've been through sort of larger ones and smaller ones. This one that we have in 2006 and 7 is approaching the worst in history, or worst since the Depression. So it really is sort of a significant issue. As you can see, it's a significant issue. I'm not going to say anything to contradict that. This is very meaningful. This is important. This is what my boss, the chief economist, typically focuses on, the national outcome. I'm not going to say anything at all to contradict that, but I'm not sure that it's always the right way to frame the issue. That housing markets really are local, that what's going on at the national level is not always the best guidance for what's going on in the local markets. What we just saw, the downturn that we saw, is probably more representative for places like Florida and California, but it's not representative for a lot of the other markets in the country, and I'm going to spend a lot of time just going through some local markets, going through some illustrations of how the geographic variation is an important part to recognize, to evaluate what's going on in various housing markets, that it's not all the same, it's not uniform in any way, and how your local housing market conditions are doing really depends on where you are. It really is different in different parts of the country. Okay. The key factors are, as it says here, there's the economic factors, there's the economic fundamentals, that's largely about population and employment growth, income. Then there's the particular housing market issues. What we've heard quite a bit, what we've seen quite a bit in this housing cycle is that there was the boom of 2004 and 2005. There was a lot of activity there. What we saw was a lot of rapid price appreciation. And some of the housing markets got a little overpriced. Now, in those markets that were the hottest, that had the largest price run-ups, we're seeing declines, sometimes substantial declines in the house prices. But again, there's a lot of geographic variation, and the prospect for the environment for house price appreciation and the possibility for depreciation, for price declines, really is a function of how run-up prices got during the boom and how your local area has responded to the correction that we've seen in the last 2 years. The final issue here, the sort of special issue in this particular housing cycle, has been the subprime lending. Ken talked about this. There were a lot of sort of exotic mortgage products that got out there that enabled a lot of speculation, a lot of sketchy loans. People who maybe really couldn't afford to take out a mortgage at this point in their lives, they got into the houses, and now maybe they got into a little trouble. But so those are sort of the key factors. I'm going to go over those in a couple of different ways and talk about, again, the geographic variation. It's important to understand that the national headlines tend to be dominated by the large states, California, Florida. There's a lot of activity in Las Vegas and Arizona. These are markets that are, the national trends are sort of dominated by some of these bigger, more troubled markets. But again, that's not the most useful indicator for what's going on in any particular of the local markets. Okay, can we go to the next slide? In terms of the economic fundamentals, there's a lot of talk about recession. We think that we're going to dodge that bullet, that the economy is going to have sluggish growth in the first half of this year, but we're going to avoid the recession. Things will pick up in the second half of '08 with the stimulus package. The monetary policy and fiscal policy are both really targeted at dodging the recession bullet and keeping things going. We expect that that's really going to kick in the second half of 2008, and so that we really are going to be fine. This map is showing you that, again, there's a lot of variation. The national average is about 5%. Actually, I think now it's down to, I think it has declined to 4.9% recently in the latest numbers. What this map is showing you is that the lowest unemployment rates around the country are the green. The yellow is more toward the average, and as you get into the orange and redder colors, that the unemployment rate is higher. So what this is showing you is that in terms of economic fundamentals, that Michigan, with the highest unemployment rate of 7.6%, that's an area that is really going to have some trouble. The auto industry and the industrial Midwest in general is going to have some trouble with the economic fundamentals. California is having a little trouble on the West Coast. But again, a lot of this is average or below average, and so we think we're not on the verge of some sort of nationwide economic slowdown. We think that we're going to miss the recession, that it's going to be sluggish growth, but overall things will be okay. Okay, next slide, please. Okay.